Hello, I'm Amy Lewis, the Information Literacy Librarian here at Northeast Lakeview. I'm going to go over some search strategies and best practices for using our databases. Today, we're going to be looking at Academic Search Complete, but the skills and strategies are applicable to most of our other databases as well. You'll find if you can navigate Academic Search Complete, you can use JSTOR, Gale Academic OneFile, and so many more. So we're here at the library's main page, and I'm going to scoot down to Database A to Z list, and we're going to find the database we want, which is Academic Search Complete. Now, this is usually where people start when they are looking for information. It is one of our big databases. It has a lot of information in it. It is our most popular database, the one that gets used the most often. All right. And immediately it is asking for our keywords. So hopefully you've broken down your topic into big ideas, into big keywords. I'm going to go for a really broad search, and we're just going to see what's out there on college students. Now I would expect to find a lot of information because that is an extremely broad search. And I did immediately. I've got 165,587 results that came back. Because that's any article, any even videos that mention college students is going to appear there. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over here to these limiters on the left-hand side, and I'm going to tell the database exactly what I'm looking for. So first of all, I'm looking for full text articles because I want to be able to read the entire thing. If it's just a little stub of an article or a citation, I'm not really interested, and that has slashed our number significantly. And then I'm going to look at the date slider, and we've got information back to 1921, which is very cool, especially if I'm doing a historical look back. Maybe I do want just papers from the 1930s, from the 1960s. I can set this date slider to wherever I want it to be. But for today's research, I think I want something more recent. So I'm going to set it to 2020, and we're going to take a look at the past 4 years. So that has us down to 18,816. Still a big number, but significantly smaller than where we started. From there, you can check out the other limiters here on the side. So we have our source type, which we can tell it exactly what we're looking for. So are we looking for academic journals that are for a more scholarly audience, magazines that are for a more popular audience? I'm thinking National Geographic, Time Magazine, Forbes, that kind of thing. That's going to be a magazine. We also have newspapers, book reviews, trade publications, all kinds of good stuff. I'm going to go for academic journals today. So I want to make sure it's a nice scholarly paper. And that's got us down to 16,238. You can use these other limiters here. So if you want to narrow it down by subject, you definitely can. So if it's undergraduate education in specific, like I don't want to look at graduate students and I want to make sure I'm just looking at undergraduates, that could be a good search to click. I can narrow it down by language. If I'm seeing a lot of non-English papers in here and all I understand is English and all I want to read at this point is English, I can click that and that will just give me English results. Now these results are done by relevance right here, but if I wanted to change it, I could change it to the newest date. If I wanted to see what the oldest one is, some stuff from 2020, I could do that. I can also sort it by author and by source. But leaving it on relevance is usually a good idea. Generally, that is where it starts from. So let's go ahead and click on one of these articles. So we're in the article itself. We've got information about the authors, about the source. We have our subject terms. Now I love to look at subject terms and author supplied keywords because those can give me really great ideas for future searches. And down here we have the abstract. The abstract is the summary of the paper itself. Definitely want to read that. That way you're not stuck in and 10, 20 pages into an article, you suddenly realize this is not at all what I wanted. and I've wasted my time. So go ahead and read that abstract and see if it's something that you do want to read. So if it is, great, time to open it up. You can go to PDF full text and your article will open right up. And we're inside. Now you have all of your options over here at the side where you can print, you can email the article to yourself, you can save it, you can also get the citation button, which is right over here, and you can scroll down, it will scroll up to APA, scroll down to MLA. And I can cut and paste that and put that into my works cited page. And I will be all set. Always keep an eye on the information that you get from the citation button here. It's not always correct. A lot of times it is. A lot of times it is very close, but sometimes there are things that aren't italicized that need to be italicized. Sometimes the author's names are switched around and you need to switch it to be last name, comma, first name. So definitely keep an eye on those citations. They're a really great place to start, and sometimes they are incredibly correct, but always keep an eye on them. Use our citation guides that we have for you in the LibGuide to double check that. And then we've got our permalink link. Now we want to save this instead of the big URL up at the top. The big URL up at the top is going to change, and if you try to go back to it in a few days, chances are it will have changed and you're going to get an error message. So save this permalink, and that way you know that you can get back to this exact article or this exact ebook that you were looking at. The permalink is going to save you a lot of time and frustration. That way you don't have to retrace your steps and try to remember exactly like, okay, I was searching these keywords. I think I was on page 3 of the results and it's like the 4th one down. Save yourself from all that. Use that permalink. That will save you a lot of time and frustration. I'm going to go back to the results list here. All right. So another way to get our number of results down, which we still have the 16,000 plus, which is an overwhelming amount of information because we did a really broad search, right? We're finding every article that mentions college students. More ways to narrow down that number and to really hone into what you're interested in is to add keywords. And we can do that right up here. We can add as many keywords as we want. The more keywords you add, the smaller the number is. And sometimes if you add too many keywords, you're going to find there are no articles that have all those keywords together, or there are very few. So it just really depends on what you're looking for. So play around with the keywords. Play around with synonyms, words that mean the same thing. Is it capital punishment that I'm looking for, or is it death penalty? Is it climate change that I'm looking for? Is it global warming? Play around with that. In this case, I'm going to go for anxiety. That's what I'm interested in when it comes to college students in this case. All right. And I'm going to make sure that all my limiters are still on. I've got full text. Let's see, we want to keep academic journals on. And now I'm looking at 1,571 articles from the past 4 years that are full text, that are academic journals. So it's meeting all of my criteria. And that is a much more manageable number. And I'm seeing things that look much more interesting to my topic. All right, I can keep adding to that. So I can see if I can get that number down a little bit more. I can get even more specific. So, maybe anxiety is still a little too broad because that's anxiety about any kind of thing. College students have anxiety about a lot of topics. I get it. It's a fraught time in your life. So let's take test taking, for example. That is something that can cause a lot of anxiety. All right, and now I'm down to 6. So we'll see if this is too narrow of a search or if it's just wide enough that I'm getting what I want. So we've got test anxiety and poor sleep, test anxiety and test scores, all kinds of good information. So adding your keywords changing up the keywords that you're using. So for example, test anxiety itself might be a good keyword. So maybe I want to take out both test taking and anxiety and switch to test anxiety and see what I get. Now I've got 120, so a little bit more. Maybe when I was just looking at those 6, I was missing a really good article. So I'm really glad that I did both searches. So the other options that you have in here are going to be and, or, and not. We call these Boolean operators, but they're just different ways of combining keywords. So if we want to go or, I'm going to put in, let's go undergraduates. Spell that correctly. Love the autocomplete, really helps me out there. Or is going to widen our net. So, and narrowed us down and got our number to be really small there, or is going to widen it up. So if I did this search, I would expect there to be a lot of information because it is finding the articles that have college students in them, articles that have undergraduates in them, and articles that have both of those keywords. So or is widening our net. It's going to find all kinds of things. So we should see a pretty big number here. And we do. We still have our limiters set, our full text and our date slider set, but we have 27,042 articles. So that definitely worked where we have widened our net significantly. The other option is not, and not is also going to narrow down because not is going to exclude whatever is in the second spot there. So it's saying college students, maybe not undergraduate. Maybe I just want to see college students, but if it mentions the word undergraduate, I don't want to see it. That's a possibility. I could do that. Not is going to be the option that you use the least, and you'll see that it did go ahead and narrow us down. We've got 14,138 results. So not excludes things. Again, you use it the least, but when you need it, it is there for you. Good for if words have changed meaning over time. It's good for words that mean different things in different disciplines. So for example, once I was searching swatting, like when you call the SWAT team on someone, I was searching for that and I kept getting articles on cows swatting flies. It sounds silly, but it was definitely what was coming up at the time. And I went with swatting, not cows, got rid of those cows. Then I was just looking at the phenomenon of swatting. So lots of different options for your searches. Changing up the keywords that you use, using and or not. Using these limiters here on the left-hand side, that's going to be the key to finding good sources.